What's up guys, Bearded Jeeper here, and today we're going to try to work a little bit on Project ZipTie. Now, one of the things I've been working on today so far is this light. I actually moved this light up in my garage. This may not seem like it's related to the Jeep project, but it actually is. I need to clear off this workbench so I can do a few things and actually get to my truss for the front axle, which is there. Go ahead and put together these sawhorses back together. These are just cheapo Harbor Freight. The boards broke, so I ended up getting these big pieces of wood. These are like 4x6s, so plenty strong enough, and I actually bolted them, or I screwed through the bottom so they actually held on there this time. Alright, so it's been a few minutes since I showed you the last clip. I was able to clean off the workbench back here a little bit. Just enough to be able to fix my ground clamp on the plasma cutter. So hopefully that'll help me in cutting up the axle. That's what we're going to do right now. Progress here, cutting the axle up. It's really thick metal. It's going to take a while to actually cut this all up. I would just get the plasma cutter out, but it looks like it's going to rain any minute, so I don't want to dig that out and then have to put it back. So 5-day weekend, going to see how much I can get cut up today, and then we'll do some more tomorrow as long as it doesn't rain. Well, that was fun. The axle fell off the stands and it's on the ground now. So I guess that's a stopping point right now because I can't lift that heavy bastard up myself. I'm gonna need a little bit of assistance getting that back up on there. So until I can get that, I guess I'll pick up my tools. Still looking like it's gonna rain. Humid as hell out here. Hopefully gonna get some more work done on this soon. I got it back up on there. Alright, it's a new day. I actually got the axle back up on the stand. It wasn't easy. Lifted up one side then the other. Got it back up. It's not raining today. It rained almost all day yesterday. Couldn't get a whole lot of work done. Today we're going to continue to cut up the Dana 60. As you can see here, we got most of this side all cut up. This is the easy side though. A lot of grinding left to do on here, but got the majority of the bracket off. All the bracketry. Now I got to start cutting up this side. This is going to be the harder side because you don't have a whole lot of room, and the differential's right there and the axle C is right there. But we're going to keep going at it, and goal is by the end of this long weekend, well, I have Tuesday off as well. Today's Monday, Memorial Day. But hopefully by the end of tomorrow, I will have this axle stripped down, so that way the next weekend I can start getting the truss welded on and actually get it under the Jeep. A lot of grinding and cutting done this weekend. Got sunburn from being out here in the sunlight. I don't have room to fit this axle in the garage, so I guess that's where we get it done. So finally was able to get this side mostly cleaned up. Gotta grind down these welds, maybe chop a little bit more of them off so I'm not grinding forever. This side, the tough side, we got the 2 inches of cast cut. We got most of the bracketry all cut off. I have a little bit here on the back that I still need to end up chopping off and grinding down, but for the most part, she's ready. So a little bit more cleaning up, a little more grinding, but got all the main brackets off. Next weekend, hopefully the truss is going on here. A few weeks later and I'm back. So ended up having the Rona and then just got really busy, but we're back working on the Dana 60 today. I got everything cleaned up. I spared you guys the cutting and grinding for 9 hours. Nobody wants to watch that on video. So I got this ready, gonna tack weld it before dinner, and then we'll come out and finish doing all the rest of the welding and finally get this truss on this axle. We got her tacked on. Well, got her all wrapped up tight for the night. Well, it was a little tighter a minute ago and then melted through my bungee cord, so that doesn't help. I'm gonna try to wrap it up a little better, but got the cast section welded. Hopefully, fingers crossed that nothing ends up cracking. So I took the blanket off and it looks like no cracks in any of these welds. They turned out halfway decent on both sides. So I think we're good to go on the main part of the truss here. I'm not mounting these coil buckets on because I'm doing coilovers and they are going, I have mounts that go in the hole where these screws go in here, or these bolts go in here. But I do have to figure out these lower control arm mounts. Now, Artec's instructions say, kind of need that for reference, go out basically as far as you can here and then give yourself like a 16th of an inch clearance, so somewhere right around there. So I'm going to use the coil bucket just sitting on there as a reference, and then I'll kind of tack this into place, and if I like it, we'll match it on the other side and fully weld them in. And I got both lower control arms basically welded in. I still got to weld the underneath in the middle there, but I'm waiting for it to cool, the axle to cool a little bit before I can flip it over. I don't think the welds turned out too bad. There is not a lot of room on the side of the axle here, the driver's side, but plenty of room to get some good welds on the passenger side. Got to make sure those are welded in super strong because there's going to be a lot of torque on the axle. That's why I want to flip it over and weld the underside of the axle, because that's where all the rocks are going to get hit and everything. I'm not doing the coil buckets, so I set the coil buckets on top to kind of get the right spot on this one. It's about 3 inches from the top of here to the top of this flat spot here, and I measured the same distance on the other side, so they should be pretty close. If they're a little off, I'm not overly concerned. I will have adjustable control arms, so those should be able to make up for any issues there. But once this cools a little bit, we'll flip it over and weld the underneath of that. I'm going to hold off for now on the upper control arm until I get the axle under the Jeep and figure out where it wants to sit, and then I'll just weld it in wherever the mount wants to sit, and That way I don't weld it here and then it wants to be over there a little bit. It just makes things a little bit easier, but finally getting some work done on this axle. Got the lower side of the control arm brackets welded in on both sides. Had to do some creative things to get this side off the stand. It's so close to, a better way to hold this axle up. Both sides welded on though. The truss welded on, welded the tubes. We got the coilover brackets. They're just bolted in here. These are really neat brackets. They're from Rough Stuff Specialties. They just bolt right into this existing hole, and then I'm gonna end up putting some weld along the edges here to hold it in place a little bit better than just the bolt, but that's a great start. And we got the lower control arms mounted on both sides, so that's all set. Now I didn't mount the track bar yet. I'm going to do that when I do all the steering, get that figured out exactly where I want it. And I didn't mount the upper control arm yet. I'm going to wait until I get this under the Jeep and then just figure out where the upper control arm wants to sit and just weld it in there, and if it's good we'll fully weld it and send it. Alright guys, that's it. This has been a hodgepodge video. I haven't put out a video in probably a month and a half. It was longer before that. I'm going to try to get more regular with putting videos out again now that I'm finally able to start making some progress on this. So you should start to see some more work on the Cherokee. I got to get this thing done. I want to wheel it this year. As always guys, stay bearded, stay Jeepin'. I'm out.